Hello and welcome to a deep dive into the petrol prices in India. The price of petrol in India is enough to make you want to trade in your car for a camel. We'll explore why petrol prices in India make you want to weep openly and how they impact the average consumer. Welcome to our deep dive into why petrol prices in India are so high compared to many other countries. Chapter 1. Death and Taxes, and also petrol, the tax burden. In India, over 50% of what you pay at the pump goes straight to the government. This means that for every liter of petrol you buy, a significant chunk of your money is not going towards the fuel itself, but rather into the coffers of the state. Central excise duty is around 32 rupees and 98 paise per liter, and that's before state taxes. This central tax is a fixed amount, which means it doesn't change with the price of petrol, but it still adds a hefty sum to your fuel bill. VAT varies by state like some kind of cruel, fuel-based game of roulette. Each state government decides its own VAT rate, leading to a wide disparity in petrol prices across the country. In some states, the VAT can be as high as 30%, making petrol significantly more expensive. We need taxes for roads, schools, and public services. These taxes fund essential infrastructure and services that we all rely on. Without them, our roads would be in disrepair, our schools underfunded, and public services would suffer. But when you're practically taking out a second mortgage just to afford your daily commute, you have to wonder, is it time for the government to maybe ease up on the old petrol pump? The high cost of petrol affects everyone from daily commuters to businesses, and it raises the question of whether there might be a more balanced approach to taxation that could alleviate some of this burden. Chapter 2. The Curse of Imported Oil, India's Dependence. India imports around 85% of its crude oil. When you're that reliant on someone else, you're at their mercy. So when global oil prices go up, India feels it. And when they go down, the government has a funny way of holding on to that discount. Plus, there's the whole issue of freight charges. And then there are those delightful geopolitical tensions, wars, sanctions, pirates, the usual, all of which impact the supply chain and make your petrol that much more expensive. Let's talk about the rupee, shall we? The Indian rupee, our beloved currency, has a significant impact on our daily lives, especially when it comes to international trade and travel. Specifically, its unfortunate habit of playing hide-and-seek with the US dollar. This constant fluctuation can be quite a headache for businesses and individuals alike. Crude oil is traded in US dollars, which wouldn't be a problem if the rupee and the dollar were friends. Unfortunately, they often seem to be at odds. The rupee has this annoying tendency to weaken against the dollar, making imports more expensive. This is particularly troublesome for a country like India, which imports a significant portion of its crude oil, which means India has to shell out even more rupees to buy the same amount of oil. This increased cost is often passed down to consumers in the form of higher fuel prices. So even when global crude prices drop, the benefits are not always felt by the end consumer in India. A depreciating rupee can swoop in and wipe out any potential savings, making it feel like a never-ending cycle of high costs. It's like the universe just really doesn't want you to catch a break when it comes to petrol prices. So the next time you see fuel prices rising, remember it's not just global oil prices at play, but also the dance between the rupee and the dollar. Chapter 4. From Refinery to Rip-Off, the Cost of Distribution. So you've got your crude oil, you've paid through the nose for it, and now it's time to turn it into something usable. Enter refining. And once that's done, it's time for the grand adventure of transportation. Naturally, all of this costs money, which gets conveniently tacked onto the price you pay at the pump. The global roller coaster international crude prices. Global crude oil prices, the unpredictable beast that can make or break economies. These prices are influenced by a myriad of factors ranging from geopolitical tensions to natural disasters. Every little event on the global stage can send prices spiraling up or down, creating a ripple effect that impacts everything from the cost of your morning coffee to the price of airline tickets. It's a volatile market out there, folks. Traders and investors are constantly on edge, trying to predict the next big move. The stock market reacts almost instantaneously to changes in crude prices, leading to a whirlwind of activity on trading floors around the world. One minute, prices are lower than your expectations for humanity. The next, they're higher than a kite at a Grateful Dead concert. This unpredictability can be both a blessing and a curse, depending on which side of the transaction you're on. And what causes these wild fluctuations, you ask? Global demand, production cuts by OPEC, and good old-fashioned conflict. When major oil-producing countries decide to cut back on production, prices can skyrocket. Conversely, an increase in production or a decrease in demand can send prices plummeting. Even when crude prices drop, the Indian government has this annoying habit of not fully passing on the savings to us, the humble consumers. Instead, they often maintain higher prices at the pump, citing various economic reasons. Instead, they use the extra revenue to address fiscal deficits. This means that while the global market might be enjoying lower prices, we're still paying a premium. It's a complex web of economics and policy, and unfortunately, the consumer often ends up bearing the brunt of it. Now, before you go full-blown despair and decide to start investing in carrier pigeons, let's be fair, petrol in India isn't the most expensive in the world. But it's also significantly more expensive than many of our neighbors. Oil-producing countries or those with lower taxes or subsidies tend to have cheaper fuel. Meanwhile, India's high tax regime makes it the pricier option for most South Asians. Let's be real, nobody likes paying taxes. But in India, petrol taxes are the gift that keeps on giving. For the government, that is. That sweet, sweet petrol tax revenue is funding all sorts of things, from infrastructure projects to social welfare schemes. During economic challenges, the government heavily leans on fuel tax revenue to plug budget holes. Remember the good old days when petrol prices only changed once a month? Since June 2017, India has embraced dynamic fuel pricing. Petrol prices can change every single day, based on global crude prices, exchange rates, and probably the alignment of the planets. This ensures that international price hikes are reflected quickly. But when crude prices drop, the benefits are often delayed because of those pesky taxes. So, there you have it. The roller coaster ride that is petrol pricing in India. While India's petrol prices are high, they are not the highest globally. Domestic oil exploration and trade agreements have helped stabilize prices somewhat, but the heavy tax burden and our reliance on imported oil keep prices high. Reducing excise duty or VAT could provide some much-needed relief. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content.